what I find rather humorous, but at the same time extremely frustrating, are places that have anti-social behaviour, what's the word I'm looking for? Quotas, even, within their proximity, as you will. Obviously telling people what they can and can't do, blah blah blah, in them, but yet they don't even practice what they preach. A lot of the time, people are antisocial towards us realists, but yet, God forbid, when we fight back out of God's wrath and frustration, as well as God knows what else, apparently we're the antisocial one. Yeah, okay then. Not from my current perspective. Not from this clear conscience. Not from this common sense. I don't have a problem against people having, or should I say, I don't have a problem, with people, might I add, that have antisocial behavioural quotas up within their proximities, in order to protect people. But that should include us as well. You can't go around protecting everyone and then exclude us realists that get extremely frustrated and wrathful with one another due to a pride and ego situation. So this is how it goes. Until people fix their antisocial policy, I'm going to continue to fight back in self-defense whenever the occasion calls for it. And there is nothing that no one is going to say nor do to get in the way of my free will. You could try it, but all you're doing, technically speaking, is provoking me all the more. And trust me, people really and truly do not want to go down that path if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, I will take your heads clean off, and I will place them upon a stake without a sheer tear running down my eye in the process. Because one thing I've learned is, I don't have compassion. I don't have unlimited forgiveness and all of these other things when people know deep down within their heart as to what they are doing is wrong, unbiblical and immoral, but yet they still choose to do it anyway for the shits and giggles. So to anyone watching this video, if you have an antisocial behavioural policy going within your proximity, you ought to practice what you preach and quit attacking us realists when we fight back in self-defense in order to protect what is within our heart and our mind. Because trust me, there are going to be days when, we are going to fight back, and it's not going to be pleasant to anyone that bring that side of us out. Especially those that don't practice what they preach. Your teachings are of the scribes and the Pharisees, for they didn't practice what they preached. And this nonsense has to stop. You bang on, and I'm referring to pretty much anyone with these, road quotas, as you will, these guidelines. You bang on about wanting the best for everyone, but yet you don't want the best for us realists when we fight back in self-defense, do you? No. If anything, you want to be quick enough to chat complete and utter shit and make, some cock and bull story amongst yourselves for a bit of attention through your so-called friends that aren't even your friends. people, they're too predictable. Somewhat laughable, extremely frustrating. They have no clue whatsoever as to what antisocial really means. If they did, and they had a brain cell in there, they would know that they're being antisocial towards us realists by denying us our free will and doing everything they possibly can with their worldly power by going around thinking that they are superior to us, when in actuality they are nothing more than an ant under our feet in comparison. We have the final say. Now, these said people that did what they did upon us chosen, that didn't practice what they preached, are going to be the ones left crying, bitching and moaning for their golden ticket back after they begin to realise that what they did was wrong and extremely selfish, and we're going to be nowhere to be seen. Because we're going places now where people are beginning to accept us for who we really are. And even if there is a fight amongst us, they're not quick enough to step in. Assuming, of course, it's a life-threatening situation and bodies are being thrown everywhere, then yeah, they would step in. But nowadays, they just leave us to it. And that right there is honourable. It's honourable. Because some people need to learn a hard, difficult, yet valuable life lesson. That they are not above us called, us chosen. And they ought to practice what they preach when enforcing these antisocial guidelines. Because they're being antisocial towards us, but yet don't even realise it. Therefore, one, they're contradicting themselves. Two, they are nothing more than a bunch of what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical, there you go. They are a bunch of hypocritical morons that don't have a brain cell going for themselves. And their teachings are corrupt. Because they don't actually practice what they preach, nor teach. Therefore, that makes them just as bad as anybody else that don't necessarily work within a said setting. Tell me, what good is there in having an antisocial guideline if you cretins, you morons that work within your proximities so happen to be antisocial towards us realists in the first place by denying us our free will, thinking that you're superior to us when in actuality and reality you never were and never have been, because you've not earned it. Your worldly power is weak and it is too predictable in comparison to our power in here and in here. What good is there in having these guidelines if you don't follow through with them yourself? Food for thought, really. Common sense. And if anyone had common sense and they had a conscience, they would know I'm speaking the truth, right? So therefore, from now on, this is how it's going down, whether people like it or not. If there is a fight about to break out amongst myself and somebody that brought that side of me out, you're not going to interfere. You're going to leave us be. You're going to leave us to scrap it out. You're not going to interfere with our free will, nor are you going to try and corrupt nor tamper with our free will. Because some people need to be taught a valuable life lesson, like I said, that they can't continue to go around acting all superior, thinking they're above us, realists, when in actuality, they never were and never have been. They are nothing more than a sand grain underneath our shoe, the sole of our shoe, in comparison to the power and authority we have. Because we've earned it through obedience. We have earned it through sacrifice. We have earned it by giving up worldly pleasures in order to get to where we are now. We had to do the hard, heavy labour work in order to get that power and authority. We've earned it. Therefore, these circus clowns, these morons, these mutts, as you will, jokers, jesters, as a matter of fact, my audience, as you will, they've done nothing to earn their worldly power. And they're going to learn fast when they provoke us and bring that side of us out. Because we will, like I said, we will humble people. Whether it be a verbal telling off or whether it be getting physically hands-on with those that are deliberately trying to bring that side of us out. With no compassion, no remorse, no empathy, not even a tear shredded. Or shedded even, not even a teardrop. Because you've earned it. We're not going to respect nor tolerate the degeneracy within people. If you're quick enough to dish it out, you sure as hell are going to take it, whether you like it or not. And that's for people, you know, that basically cry onto the police, oh, I'm going to call the police on you. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Do it. What? Did you think that I didn't happen to have any connections from the police force either? What? Did you think that I didn't happen to be able to use the law against those within the police force that feel the need to step out of line and abuse their power and authority by arresting the wrong people when we retaliate out of self-defense? See, people don't even realise what they're doing. They laugh and joke about it now, you know, by doing the devil's work, but at the end of the day, that laughter is soon worn off. They get bored and they move on to some other sucker. Thankfully, I don't have to put up with this bullshit within people now, because nowadays I slowly wake up after a good night's sleep and I'm within a good place, in here and in here, and I'm letting no degenerative moron get in the way of that. You can try it, trust me. You can get under my skin, you can do whatever you want, but you best believe I will get my 16-ounce MMA punching gloves on and I will beat the life out of you without even thinking twice. In other words, you were going to be fed through a straw in a hospital bed, spar code clean out with your jaw lopsided. I don't give a shit. Maybe this might come across as prideful or egotistical to some. Who cares, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody cares. We live in a world where it's all about people. Which is why we have to fight tooth and nail in order to get to where we need to be in life. But yet, as soon as we fight back, God forbid, we're the criminal, we're the antisocial moron, we're this, we're that. No. People have no idea. Really and truly have no idea. Go back 2,000 years ago and 6,000 years ago when the Christians fought the Philistines. When the Christians were under the rule of a king. And they fought particular said parts of the Christian map, you know. under God's command. But yet the world we see today is this soft, kiss ass, oh, I just want a brown nose and interfere with people's life to pass my miserable short existence, or because I don't have a life going for myself type of society. That's all I see. I'm humble and I'm respectable to those that have earned it. But trust me, if you want to bring the arsehole side of me out by continuing to do the unfruitful works of the devil, like I said, without even thinking twice, I will get my 16-ounce MMA boxing gloves on and I will beat the life out of you. I will leave you sparkled clean out on the pavement. And the only way you are going to be fed, like I said, is by drinking through a straw. It is what it is. Because I'm sick and tired of people's bullshit. Me personally, I admire honesty. I admire uncomfortable truths within people that are able to admit when they're wrong. That are able to hold themselves accountable and responsible for their own actions. That I find admirable within people, but I don't see that within many people today. All I see in people are a bunch of circus clowns. They don't even have a brain cell going for themselves. Thankfully, I have people within my corner, you know, as I'd like to call them, my army, waiting to meet me in person and elevate me through prayer. I have a small percentage of people that happen to know what I'm talking about, and they're doing everything they possibly can within their godly power and authority to work with me in regards to putting a stop to this blue-pilled society that, quite frankly, isn't doing anyone any favours. Even those that go around living like degenerates, living a high life of temporary joy and happiness that's only soon to be short-lived when they're back to square one. Thankfully, the realists, on the other hand, we get rewarded and we get blessed through the Holy Spirit for doing the work of God by acting like real men, for one. And again, vice versa for the women. They get blessed, they get rewarded, because they are doing the work of God by acting like real women. Whatever God the Father says goes. And I'm not even, joking about this. I will look people eyes cold, dead in the eyeball, and I will tell you now, whatever God says goes. He always has the last say. Always. And there's nothing that anybody could say nor do to stop him. And you know that we're living within a clown-ass world, because people are soon quick enough to cry and reside within their feelings and emotions when they've been chastised, when they've been rebuked, when they've been called to repentance, when they've had the sword of the Spirit taken to them. Weak. Too predictable. Weak as piss. No backbone, nor spinal cord. No brain cell. You're just a bunch of empty meat suits that don't have a life going for yourself. And I will continue to be happy just to add salt to the wounds. And I will continue to apply the pressure within the very presence of those that are doing the devil's work, just to see you squirm and watch your reactions like the real weaklings that you really are. Things are going to change within today's society, or you best believe they are. Because I am going to make them change. And like I said, there is absolutely nothing that anyone can say nor do to get in the way of God's work. You could try and get in the way. You're going to get the life beat out of you. And depending how far you provoke God, you'll get torn up like a steak fillet. A bloodied steak fillet at best. And we will feast on you. We will feast on you. So to anyone, like I said, before I wrap this video up, I don't want to make it too long. To anyone with an antisocial guideline within your proximity, if you are antisocial towards realists, you need to take a step back, reflect on yourselves, and practice what you preach. Because your teachings mean nothing if you can't even follow them yourself. You think that you're following your guideline when you actually aren't. Because if you were, you wouldn't be treating us with the disrespect and disgrace that you do. Nor would you be interfering with our free will, thinking that you're superior to us, when in actuality, we have always been superior over you. And unlike each and every one of you weaklings, we have the balls to actually show it as well. And that's not going to change anytime soon. You best believe it. People need to seriously grow up, man, I'm telling you now. They need to grow up. Get a backbone, along with a spinal cord, and take back their own free will to think and live for themselves, rather than be this circus clown that isn't, quite frankly, getting them anywhere in life. All it's getting them, technically speaking, is a life that no longer serves them. A life of constant failure. A life of constant rejection. A life of constant abandonment through God himself, by acting like a bunch of degenerate, reprobate children. Are all children of God this way? No. But unfortunately a lot are. And that's got to change. Like I said, I wear the trousers around here. I own the city centre. As a matter of fact, I own each and every one of you circus clowns. You are my audience. You think you're joking me around. You think that you're winning by doing what you do upon me. When in actuality, I have the power and authority to get inside of each and every one of your heads with the sound biblical truth. In other words, I can kill any one of you with the sound gospel truth. So why even try to kill a realist with lies, deception, that are only going to be counteracted with the sound biblical truth, only to leave each and every one of you look like the morons, the fools that you really are. It's a wrap.